officially episode number 1 of Welcome to Plathville. Let's talk about it, people. Okay, this episode started off very interesting because we start off with the introduction, sort of Micah's girlfriend. Apparently, Micah has had this girlfriend for over a year, closer to 2 years, and it's been a long-distance relationship. So I don't know how it really began, if this is a slide into my DMs type of thing, which has red flags all over it, but I mean, whatever. It can work out. We're in 2024, right? So Micah has been in a relationship with her for a long time and decided it's time to pick up and leave LA and be by his girlfriend, who lives in Florida. I think like it was southern Florida, if I recall, not just over the border from Cairo. So he moved in with her. She has her own house, which is decorated. I mean, it's a very simple, basic little ranch house from the outside and adorably decorated on the inside. She has good taste. Although I will say it's adorably decorated for girls. It would look great. It reminds me of the houses that girlfriends of my daughter had when they were in California, because everyone had ranches in California. And it would just be very girly inside. Lots of pastels, tans, pink blush, not bright pink, but like that blush hue. Tastefully done. I will give her definitely credit for that. I don't think it's Micah's vibe, but most guys don't care that much. So we don't know much about her, and at this point in the series, she doesn't want her face on television. So she's working during the day, and he said that he's doing like some odd jobs around town and completing the honey-do list that she gives him every day. I like Micah a lot. And so I really want to see him get into a fantastic relationship. And I kind of like the girl that he was sort of, kind of, not really, but in a way dating in the previous season that he met from modeling, which is odd because you don't think of like a really sweet, wholesome girl. But there's sweet, wholesome girls everywhere, right? That never worked out between the two of them. And this girl, maybe when we see her face, it'll come across a little better. Right now, she comes across very Olivia-like. That's the only way I can explain it. Sort of demanding, sarcastic. He finds that all endearing and funny now. Ethan found it endearing and funny, and Olivia too at first. I don't know if I can see this, but I hope I'm wrong. I hope that it's just because we couldn't see her face that her tone of voice is just that way. There's people like that, right? Mary in Sister Wives has just a harsh, abrasive voice. And I don't think she means to come across that way as often as she does. I don't think she means to anyway. Anyway, that's not the show. So she doesn't have a harsh, abrasive voice, but she comes across as very overly assertive and demanding. But we'll see. We cut to Minnesota, where Ethan is still in his apartment by himself. Because as we saw at the end of last season, Olivia up and left after they decided this isn't going to happen. And they still had a lease. So he stayed there to the end of the lease. So whatever that period of time was between the end of last season and the beginning of this one, I'm not really sure. Again, TLC. God only knows what the timelines are. Ethan, God bless him, has been keeping himself very busy. I like this approach that he's taking, so he doesn't just sit there and wallow in his thoughts, because I think they're very confusing, and it'd be nice to have somebody walk him through his thoughts and help him work through his emotions and his feelings and his thoughts and the reality and all of that. He could really use some guidance in that area. So he has been on weekends visiting his grandparents who live there, working on cars on the weekends. During the week, he has 2 jobs that keep him busy. He said from 3:30 until like 5 or 7. And then after that, he goes to the gym. So good for him. You know what? Bring in the money, put it in the bank account, get your body in shape. Healthy body, healthy mind, it's all good, and stay busy. Ethan mentions that Olivia will be visiting him there shortly because she's coming back from California. It's getting near the end of the lease, it's the last month, and she's going to come with divorce papers in tow because they both agreed to make it very quick, easy, clean divide of things. I don't know what they have to divide up between them, and it can't possibly take too long to do so. So she's back to do that, and then she walks in while he's doing an interview with the camera in the apartment. So then there's the normal Ethan. It's like, I was going to say, I don't mean to be mean. This is probably mean, but it's the best way to describe it. He truly, honestly looks like he's in the middle of either a seizure or a lobotomy. Like, blank. He just stares. It's very odd. So she comes in like, hey, hello. She knocked on the door. She didn't just walk in. He answered the door. And then eventually he's like, well, I didn't expect you here. Now, I didn't know you were coming. She's like, I said I was going to be coming. He's like, yeah, you said you were going to be coming, but you didn't say when. She's like, oh, I didn't? Sorry. And her excuse was, I've been traveling so much that I just grabbed the next plane when I got back and just came here. So odd. I can just drive a couple hours to see my kids, and I'm texting ahead. Hey, is this still a good time? I'm on the road. I'll be coming soon. Let me know if I need to find a key somewhere to get in, or do you want me to meet you somewhere? I feel like I'm in constant communication when I'm going somewhere, certainly visiting someone. The fact she couldn't send a text and just said, I'm getting on a plane. Not even giving specific times, just, I'm en route to your state. So you can expect me shortly. Like nothing. I don't know. I've always said Ethan's the worst communicator, and I hold to it. But boy, you know what? She's not great. She's got her issues too in terms of communication. So definitely better than Ethan. Give her that. But honestly, not even a text. They're two peas in a pod. He's the exact same way. Situations come up and they just appear places and nobody knows they're coming, and I didn't think to let you know. A text. It's not like back when I was growing up where you had to stop and find a telephone in the airport and then wait in line for all the other people who were on the phone, not knowing how long they were going to be talking on it, and then putting your quarter in and dialing and trying to get through to the person, or a lot more money if you're dialing long distance. Like, it's a different world now, people. Y'all were born with this technology. I don't understand. It's all excuses or laziness. One or the other, because they can't be that dumb that they didn't know they should text and let somebody know they're coming. Both Ethan and Olivia have done this. Not Ethan right now. Ethan's done it in the past. Nevertheless. All right. Going over my notes here, I don't know what this means, and this is my bad because I waited too long to do this video. There you go. It says bare minimum, underlined twice, to protect your partner. Maybe that was, I think Olivia told Ethan that he did the bare minimum to protect her in the relationship. And then he came back with, I went a year and a half with no relationship with my siblings or my parents. If that's not a sacrifice, I don't know what is. And she referred to a year and a half of him not talking to any of his siblings or his parents, who clearly he was very close with because they were a very insular community growing up. She said that's the bare minimum.
Like, excuse me?
They don't need to be together. She has a lot of needs. Ethan can't meet them. This is good if this is moving on. I say if because I just don't trust. I just don't trust they're not going to screw up and get back together. They shouldn't. Listen, I'm not a proponent of divorce. I'm really not, but these two should have never been married to begin with. All right, so then there was a little dialogue between them. I have a couple lines written down here. I have that Ethan said, I don't understand why that was your request instead of trying to fix it. In that Olivia wasn't getting along with Ethan's parents and Ethan's siblings. So instead of trying to fix the problem, her solution was, Ethan, you should not, if you love me, any longer talk to them. So he didn't for a year and a half.
Don't make me choose. Please, don't make me choose.
So now on reflection, Ethan's saying, I don't understand how that was fair that you felt that that was the solution. He's really hurt, I think, because He did that for her, and in the end, it still didn't work out. But it wasn't going to, Ethan. Remember, you two are philosophically on different paths now. You both agreed there's no way you can bring kids into the world since you think so differently now. So although you're right in this situation, Ethan, let bygones be bygones and move on. Let her go, whether she was right or wrong. Let her go. Don't point out what she's done wrong. I'm sure she's got plenty of things to point out that you've done wrong. And let's just move on.
It's time.
So Ethan doesn't understand why this was her request rather than working it out. And Olivia's response was, well, that's how I'm not a good fit for you. It's kind of a really dumb answer. Because of these answers that aren't really answers. How is it that you didn't want to work on the relationship with my family and instead made me stay away from them? That's how I'm not a good fit for you. What? Because a good fit would be a lapdog who would just do anything you say, Olivia?
Yep.
Ridiculous response. Let's see. She goes on and says, it took me too long to realize between me and your family, you will choose your family. Wow. So it was a test. And he passed it for a year and a half. And then eventually she realized he was passing, so she just decided, I need another reason to get out of this. Interesting. But I love that Ethan actually had an educated, smart, thoughtful response to this. And he says to her, because in the end you made me choose. So true. He chose her for a year and a half. And then when he wanted to start to see some of his family members, she's like, them or me.
That's cold.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye. See you later, alligator. Word of advice to all of you out there. If anybody ever makes you choose between them and your family, they're the one that needs to go. All the time. 100%. Classic narcissistic characteristic, actually. But we're not going to go into all of that. So I feel like Olivia came in a little hot into this. She wasn't like angry, mean, but she definitely had a biting tongue in her responses. You did the bare minimum to protect your partner. That's how I'm not a good fit for you. Took me too long to realize that between me and your family, you're always going to pick your family and not me. Oh. And so when Ethan said, you made me choose, again, obviously, because he chose for a year and a half over and over again to not see them. So apparently after a year and a half, when there was a little crack and he wanted to see his poor siblings, she was like, make a choice. So then Olivia says, maybe I should have walked away a lot sooner. So are you happy with your family? That was probably the evilest thing she said. That was the snarkiest, most underlying, like, are you happy with your choice? Is your family better than me? Yes, Olivia, they are. Sorry.
Family comes first.
It was just so evil. It's like you want to, like, push back when you hear things like that. So you satisfied? I mean, he wouldn't have been satisfied sticking around with her and doing absolutely everything she said and being his lapdog the rest of his life. So, what kind of comment is that? Ethan gives no response, which was smart of him. He probably couldn't process to think of what to say at the moment because he does his blank stare. You can tell on his face he was just hurt, and he just left it at that. I'm like, good, Ethan, let's leave it at that. Let that marinate. Let her reflect on the words that just came out of her mouth and have some regret. Or maybe she doesn't have regret. Yeah, who knows? It's Olivia. All right, we cut to Kim. Kim is down in Florida living, but not with Ken. No, not with Ken. She bought a houseboat. I say kudos to you, Kim, for not moving in with Ken. That was very, very smart. Because anytime your girls are coming to visit you, the 3 younger ones that they take like a week on, week off sharing, to have to be in Ken's house, that wouldn't be good. That wouldn't be good. What I want to know is why no studio anymore? Like, I heard that the studio portion of it closed up. I don't know if she ever even got it started. But there's plenty of square footage down there. She had a full apartment upstairs. Bathroom, kitchen, bedroom. That whole studio area downstairs would have been plenty of room to have a Murphy bed or a Tundra bed or whatever, and a television and a fun play area and a great place to hang out. Could have been their home, unless it couldn't have been because it was in a commercial area. Maybe they weren't allowed to do that. That's a possibility. Anyway, she's out of the studio apartment and got rid of the studio, and she bought a houseboat close to Ken in Florida. So when the girls come, they now stay in the houseboat. I mean, good for Kim. She grew up on a houseboat. She's familiar with houseboats. It's not the most glamorous life. Not that you need a glamorous life, but I don't know. Let me just put it this way. I'm a bit claustrophobic. So to me, I would take that big open studio 100 times over. Even if it was vacant and the walls were barren and they were just raw brick and the pipes exposed, I would take that any day over the confines of a houseboat. But that's just me personally. She seems very happy there though. She's back in her element, so that's good. And I do want to say I was very hard on Kim last season on the smeared makeup, the smeared lipstick, the really, really short skirts and very tight tops. I think she watches my channel. No, she doesn't. Anyway, she looked cute. She was dressed. Makeup, toned down. Beautiful highlights in her hair. I like the color of her hair. She went and got her hair done with highlights and low lights, and the lipstick is not smearing and it's not like bright red anymore that is just kind of awkward to watch her talk. It's just she's pulled it together. Saw a stylist, or maybe her kids consulted with her. I don't know. But I want to say shout out Kim. All right, that's about it for that scene. Then we go to Mariah. Mariah has moved back home, lives in the house with Barry and the 3 younger girls and Isaac. In the last video, I called Isaac Ethan at the very beginning when I was introducing him. And then later on, I couldn't remember his name, and I gave another biblical name. I don't know which name I gave. But I don't know why I'm having such a difficult time with Isaac's name. Isaac and the 3 girls still live at home with Barry. And Mariah moved back home to be with them. She said she's, going to bank some money and get her life together, which is good. She also said that her dad gave her the master bedroom with the master closet and the master bathroom, which is all bigger than her apartment that she had before. So she's pretty happy where she is. Of course, she's got that big, massive black dog that's along with her too. So that gives him room to move around a bit in her space. And I get that Barry doesn't want to stay in that bedroom anymore. Too many memories. Because he was the one that was broken up with. He didn't want the divorce. He still doesn't want the divorce. It's 2 years in. The divorce still isn't final. I think there's a sliver of Barry that's hoping that Kim is going to change her mind. Both because he misses her, and I think he just knows it's what's best for the kids. But it's only best for everybody if that's what she wants. And it doesn't appear that she's leaning that way at all. So Barry's going to need to just move on. So mentioning Isaac being home, Mariah said that Isaac is working a lot, and I don't know if he has other jobs or if he just works at the airplane place, but he's also been flying a lot as well. Oh, right, Lydia lives there too. I forgot it. The 3 younger girls, Isaac and Lydia, are all still at home. So it's like the family's getting all back together again. I mean, Lydia never really left, and nor did Isaac, but with Mariah back there now, it just sort of feels like we have Mariah, Lydia, the 3 girls, and Isaac all in the house. 6 kids. That makes me happy for Barry because he likes his family. So Lydia has been traveling. According to Mariah, she's been traveling for about a year. So I know she has this new boyfriend. The new boyfriend, you only see the back of him on social media. She's not showing his face. Smart. I'm hoping she's traveling with him. That would be pretty cool. I don't know what kind of traveling she's doing, but she's been traveling for a year, so good for her. She needs to get out and see the world too, like the rest of the older kids have been doing. Mariah goes on to explain that part of the reason, or a major part of the reason, that she moved there, besides just saving money, is because she was in a relationship for quite a while with a man that she didn't have on the show at all and didn't even talk about. And apparently that went south quickly. She found out that he was lying to her in a major way, and it really affected her. So no details, and she said she's not going to give details, but she said that she found out things about him that he had kept from her, and then things started unraveling. So she said it was really devastating, and she moved home to heal. and decided that as horrible as it was at the time, that she just feels like it's her time to learn from it, do better, and move on. I do love at one point, Barry says to her, you know what? The door is always open. You stay here as long as you want. That's how it should be at every parent's house. Unless you have a kid who's a failure to launch. Then they need a push out. But a kid living on their own that's going through a rough patch, to say the door is always open, don't feel like you don't have a place to turn to. There is always a warm meal and a soft bed for you to lay your head down on and somebody to listen to you here. That's how it should be. I'm glad he said that. We cut back to Micah now, and he says, quote, I wrote down the quote because sometimes I'm like, He says, everything I do is centered around my girlfriend. I miss my California friends. So Will is going to come and visit. Everything I do is centered around my girlfriend. That's a red flag. Hope I'm wrong. We'll find out. So his friend Will is actually flying out and coming to visit him. Oh, I did write down here, he does have a job in Florida. He's building fences. He doesn't really enjoy the job at all. Obviously, he liked modeling a lot more than building fences, but unpredictable money in modeling, never know when the next paycheck or job might come, whereas building fences is probably very predictable with a reliable income. Of course, that also means you have to work on a daily basis. I don't know if he's liking that so much, but I don't know. He's always had a good work ethic. I think he's just not enjoying the actual work so much. I think if he had a job which was more, he was really, just like Ethan, enjoyed tinkering on tractors and trucks and cars and things and rebuilding engines. So he needs to find like an automotive job, and I think he'd be happier than building fences. The people are interviewing Will for the show, and the producers, and they ask what they think of the relationship with Micah and this girlfriend, and he didn't have much to say, and they kind of pushed him, and he's like, I don't know, I guess there's just one interaction I saw with them fighting a little bit, and it made me a little concerned. And then he goes on to say, but you know what, they've been boyfriend and girlfriend for 1.5 years, and she's nice, and I've always otherwise had good relationship with her on the phone and when I've talked to her, when she's come to visit, etc. Okay, we'll see where that storyline goes. Micah goes on to describe his girlfriend as a hard worker, great trait, love it, strong-willed. Oof.
Oh, no.
So's Olivia. I don't know. There's some great strong-willed people out there. I mean, you have to be strong-willed if you want to run for political office, if you want to be the CEO of a company. I mean, like, to get up there in the world, you need the strong-willed people. But for your everyday Joe, not always the most enjoyable people to be around. Surgeons, the same way. They have a reputation of being just odd ducks, and kind of antisocial and weird and have a God complex. In general, if you're a surgeon, this might not be you, but I had a fantastic surgeon who did my surgery when I had a ruptured appendix. Loved him. Nice guy. And my husband had a great surgeon too, who recently did his knee replacement. And all the PTs in that kept saying, oh, he's such a great doc, he's such a great surgeon. Finally, one of the PTs like, I've recommended him to relatives and friends and everything. He goes, I wouldn't go have dinner with the guy. But he's a great surgeon. Perfect. That's all I care about. Is he going to do a good job? And I'm not going to have complications down the road after this. But that's your standard classical surgeon. Anyway, I say that to say strong-willed people sort of fit into this category that is very beneficial to them when they really need to succeed highly. But the cost is often they're not so fun to be around. So we'll see. I don't know. Micah's friend said, what's Micah's friend's name here again? I forgot. Was it Will? I think it was Will. Will said she was nice. It was just that one incident he saw. So, everybody has a bad day, right? Micah goes on to justify her being strong-willed and said, nobody's perfect. A soulmate doesn't really exist. Your soulmate is who you like and then you kind of grow into and fall into love with. I want to say he's right, but I feel like if you already have those reservations and hesitations during the lustful agape love at the beginning of a relationship, and you're already saying everything's not perfect, but we'll grow into it, I feel like that's another red flag. Call me crazy. Here's his exact quote. He says, you don't find a soulmate, you create one.
Oh boy.
I mean, that... I really don't like that line at all, because it makes it seem like I will mold you into what I want you to be. It seems very, very controlling. And I don't think Micah is, so I don't think he made it that way. I think he just meant you develop into one together. But he said you create one. So yeah, not a great quote. Not a great quote. I'd rethink it before you use that quote again. And we end the episode with Ethan again. He is sad that Olivia moved on so fast, that she is really over him and ready for the divorce, and he's now struggling. They both were on the same page when they split. But during the split, it appears that Olivia went, realized life is great without Ethan. And Ethan thought, I think I miss her. So that's where they are right now. So as they're talking in the apartment, Olivia is trying to talk about the dividing of assets, and he's just not ready to hear it. She ends up just sort of going, okay.
Walk right out the door.
So that's the end of that episode. Okay, it was good. I liked it. It felt promising for the rest of the season. We'll see what happens with the rest of the episodes. Really excited for those of you who said, you're just watching Welcome to Plathville because I recommended it and you're loving it and going back and starting at season 1. You're welcome, TLC. TLC doesn't watch this channel either. That's all I have for today. We'll see you next week with a recap of the next episode. Take care. Have a great day. Bye-bye.